Hey guys, what's going on? Megan here. All right, 20 muscles that show that somebody will destroy you in the fight, right? So this is assuming that this person has fully developed, whatever that muscle is, right? So we're gonna go from be careful, so that's average, right? So if he has huge, whatever muscle I put here, if it's big, then be careful. If I put the muscle here, then it's like, man, um, not much to worry about. If I put it here, then it's actually the other way around. You might actually have a chance, right? Right? You got this, bro. And if I put a muscle here, then that means that person can fight for shit, right? You'll probably destroy him. If I put a muscle up here, chances are you're getting bodied, right? If I put a muscle up here, then you gotta run. You gotta run. Um, forget your pride, forget your manhood, run. And if I put a muscle up here, meaning if the person has that muscle maxed out and I put it up here, you got to pull out the Glock. Again, I don't recommend violence, but if you're in a situation, let's assume, hypothetical, that the person is the aggressor, right? You minding your own business. Person walks up to you in a ball outside, and he has that developed muscle, you got to pull out the Glock because probably running won't even help you, right? So let's get started. I'm going to pick those at random. If the person has huge, huge calves, it's like, man, there's a lot of people who use calves who can't fight. Oh, by the way, before I get all the freaking, uh, you know, smart asses in the comment section saying, oh, muscles don't mean you know how to fight. Guys, we know. Stop acting like you're a freaking genius. We all know big muscles don't mean you know how to fight on average, right? But most of the time, if a person has a huge, well developed physique, they know a thing or two, right? At the end of the day, there's a reason why we have weight classes, right? Muscle mass plays a huge role. Now, if you're fighting a trained elite fighter, then yeah, obviously, muscle mass is going to have less of an impact, assuming that obviously one person is trained, one person is not. But all else equal, there's a reason we have weight classes, right? Power is force times velocity. What's force? Mass times acceleration. You see that mass part? That comes from muscle. Okay. So let's see. Yeah. So if a person has huge calves, I'm gonna put that at mass. All right. Um, that doesn't always mean. I mean, there's like I said, there's some old Asian ladies who have big calves. That doesn't mean she's gonna whip your ass. If you go in the gym, you see a lot of 60, 70-year-old veterans walking around with huge calves, mainly because they used to hike a lot, or they have good genetics or different insertion. So that one I'm gonna put at math. Let's say somebody has massive triceps, huge, powerful triceps. I'm gonna say be careful. Right? I'm not gonna put it high. I'm gonna say be careful, right? Because obviously the person has good pushing strength, so that's gonna help them. Obviously, with not just striking, but if you guys get on the ground, it's probably gonna help the person in a jujitsu scenario or whatever. As far as let me see, how else can I? Yeah, so I'm just gonna put that be careful. Somebody has big triceps, just be careful. Um, let's see if somebody has a big tibia. You guys know I was shit on the tibia. Someone put this at. You got this. You got this for the simple fact that they're trained at fucking tibia. So don't even worry about it. Next, if the person has that's real delts, if they have huge real delts, it's like, I'm gonna put it at be careful because usually most people don't even train their real delts. So if the person has big real delts, chances are they're probably doing a lot of pulling movement. So be careful because their grappling is gonna be above average. Next, if a person has huge pecs, a huge chest, I'm gonna say, it's such a broad muscle. I'm gonna put be careful simply because it's such a broad muscle these days, where a lot of guys who can't fight, who are weekend warriors, will have a big chest. That doesn't mean that they're gonna have an advantage, right? To me, it's very similar to triceps, right? Yes, they're gonna have an advantage in pushing, but that's about it, right? Um, just make sure they don't freaking grab you. Next, let's say the person has huge biceps. Huge biceps now. I know a lot of people are going to think it's going to go and be careful, but I'm going to put this at chances are you're getting bodied, right? Guys, biceps play a huge role in grappling. Huge role. Whether the person is wrestling, trying to take you down, whether they're trying to pull you. Even in the clinch, you got to use your biceps. So, not to mention, it's also going to help with striking if they're throwing powerful uppercuts and hooks and whatever. So, I'm going to say the person has huge biceps. Again, assuming that it's muscle and not some synthol bullshit, chances are you're probably getting bodied. So, even though it's a broad muscle, I'm still going to put it up there, right? And again, guys, this is hypothetical. This is not. This is assuming everyone is equal. There's plenty of guys with big biceps we can't fight. So let's see. Next, if a person has massive, massive quads, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I got to put this at you getting body. Person at huge squats. For the simple fact that, first of all, it is extremely hard for a natural to build huge squats. It requires a lot of resilience, a lot of mental toughness, a lot of, you got to have a higher pain threshold. There's a reason why everybody skips leg days, right? It is hard to train legs. So if somebody has huge quads, chances are they probably play rugby, football, or God forbid they play wrestling, then you better run for your freaking life, right? I say play wrestling. They do wrestling. So huge quads, be careful. That's usually the power athletes. And plus, the amount of weight you have to be able to squat, whether it's hack squat, regular squat, low ball, high ball, or even just leg press to be able to build huge quads, that person, remember, watch my video on the best muscles for fighting and for knockout power. Power comes from the lower body. So be careful. Their grappling is going to be good, and their striking is going to be almost God tier. Next, if a person has huge traps, huge upper traps, run. Just run. Just run. But if the person has massive traps, first of all, number one, it means they don't gear. So not only their aggression might be higher than normal, but again, they're going to have all of the benefits of being enhanced, right? So higher pain threshold. And even if they're not on gear, if somebody has huge traps naturally, you should definitely run because it's one of the hardest muscles to build naturally. One of the hardest muscles to build naturally. So somebody has massive traps, and I'm talking about both upper traps and mid traps, but this one is mainly upper traps. Just run, run. Their pulling strength is going to be through the roof. So obviously that's going to help them with grappling. It's not going to help them a lot with striking, but mainly grappling, right? Not to mention they're going to be very hard to knock out because usually somebody has big traps, they'll tend to also have a big neck. Again, back to the steroids or the high testosterone, the high androgen status. So they're going to be hard to knock out, and they're going to have crazy grappling for the most part. So just run. Next, if a person has massive shoulders, same thing, same thing. Somebody has huge delts. I'm going to put this at, actually, I'm not going to put this at run because a lot of these physique competitors have big shoulders, but that doesn't mean they know how to fight, right? So I'm going to put this at you gaining body, right? Somebody has huge cannonball delts. Not only is androgenic, it's a highly sexual dimorphic muscle, so it's very hard to build unless you have very high testosterone or very high androgen status. But obviously, shoulders play a huge role, not just in grappling, but in striking. So huge delts, be careful. Not to mention, it's very hard to build big shoulders naturally because it's predominantly a slow twitch muscle, except for like the side delts. But next, if the person has blocky, powerful abs, nice, strong core, I'm sorry, you got to run. You got to run. It is very, very, I mean, you guys should know it is very hard to have a powerful core. And on top of that, remember, one of the most important body parts or groups for fighting, both grappling and striking, is your core, right? Your lower body, your legs, and your core. So somebody has crazy, powerful abs, run. Because first, the mental discipline you got to have powerful abs. That's one, right? Two, you gotta factor in the gear use, right? Like I always say, it's very hard to be shredded and have a lot of muscle at the same time naturally. So most of the time, person has a great pair of abs and is built, has a lot of muscle, they're probably on gear, right? So yeah, definitely run, right? Not to mention, like I said, most of the punching, striking power is gonna come from the core. Same thing with obliques, right? You should definitely run. You should definitely run, right? Guys, the core is everything, right? In almost every athletic sport, right? Your core is everything. So definitely run. Next, if somebody has a big, powerful forearms, I'm not gonna put this at run. I'm just gonna say there's a high chance you're getting body, right? There's a high chance you're getting body. The reason I'm not putting higher is because it's also very genetic. A lot of people have huge forearms without even training them directly. But chances are you're getting body. They're probably a very, very strong grappler as well. If they get a hold of you, but you're pretty much screwed. And it helps a lot for, BJJ. So next, if a person has, and I'm gonna put the same thing for, radio. So this one is gonna go here as well, right? Next, if a person has powerful, well-developed spinal erectors, you gotta run. You gotta run because again, it's a very hard muscle to blow up, and it means the person does a ton of deadlifts and hinging movements, right? So chances are they're probably gonna have a strong lower body as well, right? Unless it's a person who just spams, extensions, hyper extensions, which I doubt it. So if somebody has powerful, spinal erectors, just run. Just run, because you do not build that by doing typical weekend warrior workouts. That takes a lot of pulling. Um, let's see. Next, if a person has, wait, did I use a muscle twice? No, okay, I don't think so. All right, I think this one was this one upper chest? Why do I have Kevin LeBron twice on this pitch? I'm pretty sure this one was, this one was front delts and this is side delts. Okay, yeah. So if a person has massive side delts, let's see, massive side delts, I'm gonna do the same thing as massive front delts. Right? Chances are you're getting bodied, right? And for the same reason that I explained earlier, right? Very, very hard to build, bring up your side delts. So the person's probably on gear, probably on the juice. They're gonna have an advantage over you, regardless. Um, Again, this is assuming you guys have the same training status, training level, all that stuff. Next, if the person has, let's see, huge, powerful glutes, huge, powerful glutes, I'm going to say, huge, powerful glutes, I'm going to say you got to run, bro. You got to run. Obviously, for the reasons I explained before, right? A lot of your power is going to come from your glutes, not just in grappling, not just in wrestling, but also in throwing powerful punches, right? The most important, in fact, if I had to pick the most important muscle for fighting, all right, unfortunately, it's the glutes, right? That's where most of your power comes from. Try throwing a powerful cross or just try throwing a powerful punch with weak glutes. Good luck with that. Let's see. Next, same thing with hamstrings. Somebody has big, powerful hamstrings. I'm gonna put this at here. You gotta run. You gotta run for the same reason why. And in fact, look, I'm putting this higher than quads. Right. For one, why is the person training the hamstrings? So this person is not to be fucked with, right? That's Black Air Force energy. Do not fuck with a person training hamstrings because it's a painful muscle to train. It's boring as fuck to train, and it's extremely hard to keep training hamstrings to failure. It hurts like freaking hell. It's also a fast twitch, predominantly fast twitch muscle. So why they're training hamstrings, guys? They're probably an athlete, and obviously hamstrings play a role in punching power, just like glutes. So they have well developed, powerful hamstrings. He's not to be fucked with. He has some demons. He has some trauma. Let him deal with that trauma, right? You do not want to be a part of his storyline. Chances are he's the main character. All right. Next, if the person has a thick fucking back, like, and I'm talking about mid traps, rhomboids, all of that stuff, right? I'm gonna put this at run. You gotta run. You gotta run, guys. You gotta run. His pulling strength is gonna be OP. It's gonna be over 9,000. He's gonna be good at, again, grappling. He's gonna be good at takedowns. He's gonna be good in the clinch, and he's gonna be good at throwing combinations, right? If he has thick upper back, not to mention chances are he's on gear as well, because just like upper traps, it's very, very hard to have that demon back, right? That back thickness, a lot of rolling movements. That person is probably a wrestler. God forbid he's Iranian as well. Then you definitely screwed. Those Iranian wrestlers are no joke. If he's from Georgia or some shit. But yeah, thick, powerful mid traps. And you also got to remember that most people, that's not a muscle that most people train. Most people just do pull ups and whatever, lat pull downs. Rarely do you see people doing heavy ass rolls. You see somebody doing heavy ass rolls to the point where they have a thick back, that person has trauma. He has trauma. And like I said, you don't want to be a part of his story. Next, if a person has wide fucking lats, big back, wide lats, that means that person has been spamming pull-ups. You could probably do weighted pull-ups with 2-3 plates, if not more. That person also has some demons. I'm going to put this at run, right? Again, his pulling strength is going to be through the roof. It's going to destroy you if he grabs you. It's going to be great at the clinch. I mean, again, same reason, right, as this one. Next, if a person has a massive fucking neck, you got to pull out the Glock. You got to pull out the Glock. Don't even run. Pull it out. Pew, pew. That's it, right? Catch a charge. If a person has a massive neck, I'm not just talking about like, oh, look, like a nice aesthetic neck. No, I'm talking about massive football neck. You got to run because chances are he has big traps as well. Chances are he has big delts. He also has a big upper back. Chances, I mean, think about it. How many people, when you walk down the street, you can see somebody with a big chest. You can see somebody with wide lats, right? You can see all of this at the gym. How many times you walk into a gym and see a guy with a freaking massive broadly neck, right? He's going to be hard as fuck to knock out. He's going to be hard to choke. It's going to be hard to put him in a rear naked choke. Not to mention that he's probably on grams of gear, right? This is not a muscle that you get from genetics. This is not a muscle you get from accident. You get that from either training your neck, so that means you're either a wrestler, a boxer, right? Or you do MMA, whatever, or you're a powerful athlete. So you probably play rugby, football, or you on a crap ton of steroids because steroids will blow the fuck out of your neck, right? So that means that person is not just on TRT or they're not just on testosterone, anything. No, they're probably on everything, right? DHT derivatives, nandrolone derivatives, everything. So somebody's up there, just pull out the Glock. All right, guys, that's it. Hope this video helps. I'm out of here.